pray that peace be now restored to the world, and that God will preserve it always. These proceedings are closed.
Final United Nations victory has been won. The war is over. Peace is here.
State and church institutions work together in a belief that their co-opted armies of civil servants, dutiful soldiers, and obedient flock are in touch with the Supreme Being, regardless whether that being is truly God, truly diabolical, truly fanciful, truly gracious, truly extraterrestrial, or truly occult. Regardless whether it's driven by a narrative of Roman Catholicism articulating a totalitarian regime of dogma, or the narrative of indoctrination by state education articulating a totalitarian military-industrial partnership, or the creative narrative of New Agers articulating the totalitarian convergence of souls under the regime of a Babylonian connection with extraterrestrials. The God who is manifested in the flesh as a result nearly always seems to have the most unpleasant characteristics and behavior. This type of God is brought into existence by the spiritual life of the alter ego, bent on inflating its own image in the eyes of those it must have dominion over. It is a God manufactured in the minds of those who need a higher authority to legitimize their subjugation of peoples, so that taxes, tithes and duties on property and land their forefathers have stolen in true Old Testament style can be collected with impunity. It is a God that they believe blesses their science of control and destruction. Man-made images of God come in different shapes and forms, therefore, but the eternal Christ, the only true representation of God, is always in the present tense, to expose the deeds of men and women obsessed with a beast of their own making. We can see how certain testimonies canonized by the Jews, therefore, has conditioned successive generations to conform to a man-made image of God that is abhorrent. Christ also found these images abhorrent, and he rejected them outright, with the exception of the images that revealed a nature and character of God to which he committed himself on the pain of death. A painful death that was eventually meted out to him under the instruction of those who imagined God had led them to resolve orthodoxy by murder. Christ knew his Father before the world had been formed, but these portrayals of God he encountered in the lives of men were alien to him, alien to an everlasting heaven. The spiritual health of generations of believers has been placed in double jeopardy, therefore, by the mixing of ignorance with truth, old wine with new. Not only have the old traditions tainted the new, but they have been kept intact so that the concept of elitism and social strata, prevalent in ancient times, could continue to prevail in the spiritual dimension of a king and his God in the present age. Such a jeopardy could only be possible by corrupting Jesus' message that undermined this status quo. With Jesus out of the way, as a divine voice from heaven proclaiming the freedom of the individual, the sluice gate of religion could once again be opened so that people with egotistical problems could once again bring regions of the world under their control and, with a God on their side, subjugate the masses to his divine rule. An eclectic mix of ideas gleaned from ancient customs and beliefs, and more specifically from the Old Testament narrative, has produced a variety of very serious theosophies and religious cults that at their heart are about honour and loyalty to the cause of preserving ancient customs that keep the masses ignorant of the liberating knowledge of eternal life brought to us by Jesus Christ. They take their theosophy very seriously indeed, by forming secret occult organisations like the Muslim Brotherhood, the Freemasons, Knights of Malta, the Royal Black Institution, the Jesuits, Skull and Bones, and Ku Klux Klan. These institutions have incestuous connections with their more political counterparts, like the secret corporatist clubs of state, the Bilderbergers, Club of Rome, Council on Foreign Relations, Pinay Circle, and the Round Table, to mention but a few. The same people who frequent occultic and quasi-spiritual meetings also occupy the office of military, state, and civic government, where the old order is maintained by an invisible iron fist.
Es wird stets nur ein Teil eines Volkes aus wirklich aktiven Kämpfern bestehen. Und ihnen wird mehr gefordert als von den Millionen der übrigen Volksgenossen. Für sie